Oh, I'm recording, good. If we're talking about fear of failure, and we had practiced something so many times that we didn't make mistakes anymore, would that fear of failure be as great?
Nope.
No, it would not be nearly as great. Anybody know who Michael Jordan was? I'm from Chicago, so I know who Michael Jordan is. Okay, so when Michael Jordan, okay, NBA all-time superstar, would come home from school, his father would say, Michael, Mom's cooking dinner, but you can't have dinner until you get all your jump shots in. And Michael would stand at the end of the driveway, and he had to shoot 100 times in a row before he could eat dinner. How many of you practiced like that? We'd still be hungry today, wouldn't we? Or probably dead. We'd all be thin singers instead of less than thin singers. But that was Michael Jordan's work ethic. And I am pretty sure, from what I remember of watching him play as a teenager, he was one of the few guys that was not sweating on the court. Didn't matter if he was at the free throw line or he was passing the ball, because he had practiced to such a level that anxiety was not there, because failure was a very slim option when you do something over and over and over again and you know what to expect. Make sense? Okay. So I have a website that I've created with a book and a method that we're going to work on today, and it's a 5-step. Everybody say 5.
5.
So if we can memorize 5 words today, I'm going to give you a process that I've been working on for about 9 years, and it's part of this Lose Yourself on Stage, and it's a 5-step systematic approach to being authentic on stage. And I think it's very basic, and it absorbs a lot of things many of you have done. I've studied the Adler method. I certainly studied Stanislavski, and I've delved a lot over the years into just the psychology of how we communicate. So this is a really simple way to look at anything that you're going to perform and lose yourself on stage. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set my camera on stage, and I need 1 or 2 people that know the beginning of the song Tomorrow from Annie. Sorry. The sun will come out. Anybody know that? Okay, do I have a volunteer? Okay, I need 2 volunteers. 1 volunteer. Okay, come on up on stage, and you 2 come up on stage. Okay, we're going to make this so fast. It's going to be really fun. All right, I think I got the stage there. Yeah, you can see if that's focused. Okay, now, girls, this is your cheat sheet. Will you please take a look at this? And you can go look at the pianist and make sure that you can sing what's on that card right there. Okay, you go with the pianist. Okay, so we're not high tech today. We're just looking at pieces of plastic. It says, lose yourself. Wipe that on the floor, right? Okay, hopefully she'll revive herself and do something other than just pass out on the stage. But when we look at a text like tomorrow, it starts like this. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow, clear away the cobwebs in the sorrow until there's none. Right? So, can I have you guys sing that for me, just the 2 of you together? Yeah. I don't need a performance, I just need them to hear it, because we're going to talk about this. Everybody see what this is? It's a drum. And in the bottom it says beats. So we're going to take a song which has a text that we're at least familiar with, and we're going to divide it into beats. And we'll talk about what beats are. Okay. You girls ready to give us this little concert performance of just that much? Okay. Whenever you're ready, Joe. Then go on. Tell I'm stuck.
Bring him in.
You can look at the back of this.
2, 3. When I'm stuck without day.
Good. All right. Now, as a group, you are outstanding. Thank you for being our song leaders. Can we all sing that? And I'm not interested in your singing voices right now. What I'm interested in is you're getting a handle on these words so I can take you through 5 steps. Okay? So we're all singing tomorrow, and let's do the full intro, Joe. Okay, so you hear this pattern, 3.5 measures? Pick up. Great.
sun'll come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick up my chin and grin and say,
Oh, you're awesome. All right, so did you notice in that little picture that I shared with you that I divided it into little sections? So those little sections, and music lots of times gives us clues. The composer and the lyricist give us ideas when there's a new beat. So I have a definition of a beat, but any of you that have taken an acting class, have an acting degree, have done any stage work, can anybody tell you how we use that word beat?
Pulse.
Pulse? I love that. Great. What else?
Maybe when the mood changes.
I love that. Yeah, the mood. And what generally drives the mood? Something inside the character. Anybody else?
I feel like it's what takes us moment to moment.
Yes.
In the song.
And music, usually they almost script it for us. It's the end of a phrase. And sometimes it's where we take a breath and it's very fast. Sometimes it's a whole big verse, but the mood changes or the pulse changes. So I'm so glad you said those words because we're going to come back to them. They're part of this Lose Yourself on Stage. So here's what I wrote for a beat. If you have one of those books, you can turn and find the red page and look on the back. Okay, and we're going to read this together because I really want us to just feel really collaborative right now, okay? So I'll hold this up, and would you all read for me what a beat is? Go ahead.
Beats
Reading out loud.
in the beginning are where the actor pauses and changes during a scene.
All right, let's be a Greek chorus. Let's do it together. You can be my leader, so you're going to have to be the loudest, and we'll follow and match this voice. Let's do it again.
Beats in the beginning are where the actor pauses and changes during a scene or monologue. The beat changes the rhythm. However, beats are much more than just pauses. Beats are sections within a scene or monologue. Every time there's a change in dynamic, emotion, or purpose, there is a change in beat. Deciding where the beats are in your monologue is an important step in deciding how you will perform your monologue. Changes in emotion and purpose are what make acting interesting.
Okay, so we have emotion, we have dynamic, we have purpose, and all of these change in pulse and mood. This happens, composers do this all the time. When they want something to be really intense, what do? They get faster or they get louder? Or sometimes they get right. They inflict kind of where they want us to go, but it's our job to really serve that. So I took what I think is one of the most popular songs in 50 years of musical theater, only because everybody knows it, not because everybody loves it, but because everybody knows it, and thought, wow, every little girl that steps out on stage, they just, the sun'll come out! They just sing as big as they can, and they hope that they get cast, right? But if we broke this down into beats, then there's a lot of work we can do in each one of those individual beats. So the first thing is we find the beat. And guess what? You will do it differently than Estrella, and Estrella will do it differently than you. And that's magical because you just partnered with whoever wrote that piece of music to make it fabulous, right? And my two singers on the stage, I'm going to make you come up and do the example in a minute, okay? So I'm going to show you quickly, and you can turn to this page. This says subtext. This is the first part of the work we do. So we take a look at that text. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. So on the little example I gave you for subtext, I geared this towards an 8 or 9-year-old girl singing it. I wanted to put it on the bottom shelf so that we all get it. But if you look on that chart that you grabbed before, on the back of the book with the song, and you see the beats there, see the little yellow box? I put an S for subtext, and I said, thoughtful. Maybe me as the director wants a really meditative, contemplative, introspective little Annie there. The sun will come out. She's, just kind of thinking to herself, okay? But whatever subtext you choose, you have to know what it is, and you have to have a picture of what it looks like. So I'm going to give you 6 different pictures that we all have as humans. We all have 6 different categories of emotions, and every actor has these. You're equipped with them by the time you're 2. You have happy, you have sad, you have surprised, you have fear, you have anger. Are you here before me? Mm-hmm. And you have disgust. Those psychotherapists say those are the 6 categories that we have. So can I have you 6 actors step up on stage, and on the count of 3, you're going to show us those faces, and we're going to see if you can remember what I just said. But I'd like you to scramble up in a different order, so you're not in the order you were sitting. Just on the front row, apron of the stage right here. Okay? And we're going to see if we can find those faces again. So what I want to do is turn the face to that wall. Right here. Perfect. Good face to that wall.
Here's 6.
Like you're in a lineup for the police. Okay? So you've all been given a different core emotion, right? And I'll just say, okay, I'm going to call you number 1 with music notes and have you just turn around, and we're going to see if you're going to remember what emotion she is. Do you remember what they are? Happy, sad, disgust, surprise, angry, and fear. That's our toolkit as an actor. So these are the most base emotions. So if I said thoughtful, is that one of the base emotions? No, but it fits in one of those categories. We as an actor have to know what it is, but we can't go to all that nuance until we say, what piece of the pie are we talking about? So let's see if we can get it. Okay, number 1, turn around with your face, please. Face the audience. And just freeze, like as a picture. Okay, what do you think she is? Fear. How many think it's fear? How many think it's happy? How many think it's sad? How many think it's disgust? How many think it's anger? Okay, what was it?
Was I supposed to pick one? I just turned.
When I gave you when I was going like
She
this.
was happy.
Oh.
Yeah, I was taking notes. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's all right. All right, number 2, turn around. That was my fault. What do you think?
Disgust.
I shout out for disgust. Are we there? Okay, good. Number 3, turn around.
Surprised.
No fear.
Yeah, and I want you to do it as a still. I don't want you to move. I want to see if you can get fear on your face, because in every language, anybody that works as a professional communicator, whether it's the police or a psychotherapist or it's your mommy, they just have to see your face for a moment to know. Okay, so fear. Okay, number 4, with a whale on her shirt.
Oh.
Just freeze in that pose. What is it? How many people think sad?
Fear. Fear.
How many people think fear? How many people think disgust? Okay, number 4, what was it?
I said I was anger.
You were anger.
Oh.
Okay. So, okay, thank you. Number 5?
Surprise.
We get it?
No. Like fear. Yeah, it's supposed to be fear. Was that a good?
Okay. All right, number 6.
Surprise.
Okay. So, let's all get on the stage for a minute. Okay. Can you make 2 rows facing each other, please?
Annabelle, you could just sing your audition
Find somebody
tonight.
close to you in height. That's the only
Just sing your
requirement.
audition
So
tonight.
2 rows facing each other, like we're going to do London Bridge. So facing each other.
And by the way, guys, just to let you know, we are filming this evening, so on our break, we'll have everybody sign a release if you're okay with that. You don't have to. But we are going to be using some of this video footage to show other people this new technique, just to let you know.
So, all right, great. I'm going to call this side A. And I want to hear you guys all say it before we put this together, but these group exercises and this sense of trust and you're getting used to the stage is really important, and I want to make sure that we share a vocabulary, okay? So, I would like this side of the room to make a happy face and then freeze it, okay? And then hold it, freeze. Now, I would like this side to mirror your partner exactly. How wide are their eyes? Can you see their tongue? Is their chin tense or relaxed? What do their shoulders look like? How erect is their posture? What do you see? Okay, now we're going to switch. Side B, you're going to do anger. Side A, you're going to copy. Exactly. Side A, start with fear. Mirror it. Side B, you're going to do disgust, but I'd like you to change your level and your posture just a little bit. Okay, side B, go. Don't do what your neighbor's doing, and now you mirror it. Okay, side A, surprise. Okay, now I forgot one. What did I forget? Fear.
Happy.
Sad. All right, so side A, let's do sad. Change your posture, change your level. Go. Jump right into it. And here. Okay, terrific. Stay right where you are. So let's address that for a minute. The ability to immediately have a handle on those 6 core emotions is the beginning of everything you do as subtext. Sub means what? What's a subfloor?
Below.
What's subterranean?
Underneath.
Below. You ever hear the Titanic, the big ship that crashed? It crashed because it saw an iceberg and it didn't realize that underneath the iceberg was what? A glacier that went for miles and miles. A glacier is the geographical equivalent of subtext, isn't it? It's like what's really underneath the word. So if I said, that's nice. That's nice. Were they all different?
Yes.
That was what? That was subtext. And you're going to get some really detailed subtext. You're going to get really nitty-gritty into the layers of surprise. It could be just a little bit of curiosity as your surprise, or it could be I'm having a heart attack, because my husband just came home from the war and I wasn't expecting him for a month, right? There's all those different levels. But your ability to generate it immediately, and when in doubt, go simple, go deep, make sure you have a handle on those 6. But do you notice how quick and how wonderful you were to play against each other on that? That's really important too. It's really important because most times when we do scenes on stage with other actors, we create this synergy, but when we do a monologue, do we have that? So what's our connection? Who can we feed off of? Our audience. So it's so important that we're authentic with that subtext. So that's why in that example I gave you a subtext. So the subtext, I always say, is the first part of the circle. And when you go back to my charts, you'll see, we always break it down into beats. And your beats are going to be different than yours, and yours are going to be different from yours. God bless you. That's why you're artists. That's what makes it amazing. Okay, so back down on the floor, and we're going to go to number 2. Actually, number 3. Number 1 is reads. Everybody say beats. Beats. Number 2 is subtext. Okay. Now, number 2 I love because it's such a musical idea. Here's all my little squares. By the way, we'll be holding these up, but we have beats, we have subtext. What is this giant thing here?
Energy.
Energy. So if I say to you, Estrella, I'm going to say something really authentic to Estrella. I'm going to say, I think you're awesome, and I'm going to say it happy because I really think she's awesome because we've had a little dialogue. And she calls me hun, so I know that she likes me without even knowing me. Okay, so I'm going to say, I think you're awesome, but tell me how this changes if on a scale of 1 to 10 my energy changes. On music, the composer gives us a lot of that, don't they? Mm-hmm. They give us numbers. They say it's fortissimo, or it's mezzo piano, or there's a crescendo, and we know that it's building. When we have a monologue, we don't have that. And many times, even in the music, we need to add that layer of depth to it. But if I'm going to say, what was my energy?
Kind of true.
Yeah, how about on a scale of 1 to 10?
2.
Was it 1 or a 10? 1. Yeah, it was still authentic. You still got my subtext that I really think she's awesome. What would it look like if I said I want you to do it as a 10? My authenticity hasn't changed, but can somebody do that same line? I think you're awesome as a 10. Take my spot in the chair and totally change it? Yeah, come do it.
Hi, I'm Kay, by the way.
Hey, Kay.
Who's awesome? Estrella?
Yeah, that's so pretty.
Okay. I think you're awesome!
She did everything right. That was awesome. Thanks. So here's the deal about energy. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your energy output for this beat? Your energy is reflected in many ways. Kay did all of them. It's seen. Were her movements a lot bigger? It's heard. Was she a lot louder? Yeah. Emotional intensity. Did she just dial it up? How about volume? Yeah. She dialed it all up. So it's very important when you decide what that subtext is, you decide how much energy you're putting into that. You all know that nuclear energy is this. It's totally compressed. It's the most powerful energy there is, but it's totally compressed. And then you just, there's this epic force that moves it, right? So it's very important when you decide, I think I want to deliver the line like this, how much energy are you going to put into that line? Whether it's your monologue, whether it's your music. You have to make those numbers. So if you look back on the little sheet for Annie, I picked numbers on a scale of 1 to 10. I said her subtext was thoughtful for the first beat. What did I say was her energy for that? 3. A 3. So that immediately tells the actress how big her range of emotions are, how loud she's going to sing. Okay? So those are the internal first parts of the text that we look at, music or text. And then we get to the external, which is, I'm uncomfortable on stage. I don't know how to move hands. I don't know where to look. I don't know what to do. And so the third thing, and it's not what you think it's going to be, maybe, it's not, should I move my hands, how should I stand, it's this. Focus. And this has been a partner with everything that you have done in studying the script and knowing your character. Notice I didn't talk about any of those things. I presume you know your musical, you know your monologue, you know your character, you've created a backstory, you've done some character research, okay? But what's your focus? Your audience? What's your focus? It can be anything. You could be doing the mad scene from Lucia, and you're not looking at anything. You're just going crazy, or you're catatonic and you're staring out, or you're doing something that's very presentational. You're singing "Bringing on the Men," "Bring on the men," and guess what your focus is? It's the audience. You've broken through the fourth wall and you're singing out. But the important thing is, you know where you're going. You wouldn't take a new driver and have them start driving with their eyes closed, would you? No, you'd say, we're going over here, and this is how we're going to get there. So on stage, that focal point within that beat is usually pretty contained. So if I sing, and I'm thinking happy, thoughtful is part of happy. The sun will come out tomorrow, bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. I'm just kind of looking up at the sun. It's very cliche, but I didn't go, I didn't do little hand motions or anything else. I just thought, I just need a focal point to start that and start to tell my story. And I'm not going to stay trapped looking at one spot, but I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. So that focus becomes really critical. Before you add a movement or a gesture, know where you're going. If you're doing a scene, one of my professional acting students was doing the monologue from The Wool Gatherers, the one where the girl sees all the birds massacred, and really it's a metaphor for her being raped by these young men, but she tells these story about these birds that are all killed by these hoodlums. And there's so many things going on, but she has to envision the story that she's telling the audience and the other people on stage. So when she's playing that character, she has to know, oh, there's a man that's sitting in a chair. She has to know that she's in a living room. She's got to know if there's a door, if somebody's going to come through the door. And then she's also got to be able to see in her mind's eye, we've all used that expression, what is the story that she's telling? Well, she's telling this story about these boys, and they were all playing this really loud, bad music, and they were using words like the F-bomb. And then they went over to where the birds were, and you can see, I see where they are. I see the boys, and I see the birds. And when I talk about what the boys did to the birds are always by that green X system, because that's where my focus is. Okay? So what did we say for a focus for Annie for that little beat? I just picked something arbitrarily. What did we say there? It'll be F. Out. Out. The focus was out. And you can be specific on out. You can say up left, down right, green exit sign. This is the last thing we do. Remember when I had you on stage, were we moving our bodies? Not much. I said, just start with your face. Start with your face, because we're talking about authentic communication, right? And how many singers, especially if you've studied classical music, they say it's like, for the love of God, please don't move your body, just sing well. And then they say, just sing well and let your face tell a little bit of the story. And sometimes it's some of the best performances ever, because we work so hard on being authentic with this and just really telling you the story. But this is movement, y'all. And movement, you can't begin to do a gesture or a movement till you know what that movement's supposed to look like in terms of the text. So for example, if I said, we're all going to have some variation of holding our right hand out. Everybody hold their right hand out towards me. Okay, now hold it out at the energy level of a 3. And let's say it's fear. So it's fear and a 3. Okay, and now make your focus towards where I am. All of a sudden that one gesture is getting a lot better, isn't it? It's not even about the gesture, is it? How powerful is sticking your right hand out? It's as powerful as you make it. That's the deal behind movements. It's as powerful as you make it, but if you don't have that subtext and you don't have that correct energy for where you've placed it and that correct focus, it's going to be a meaningless gesture. It's just going to be this. So if I said, hey, I'd like you to stick your hand out on that word, let's say we're all going to say our subtext is accusing, and our energy is a 7, and our movement is going to be that we're going to point with one finger, and the lines are going to say, I really hate what you've done to me. And I want each of you to do that to me, okay? Everybody gets a chance to do it. And you'll all do it different, I hope.